The impossible discovery. The Nexari dead zone stretched across 17 light-years of twisted space-time, a cosmic scar that had puzzled the galaxy's greatest minds for over 2,000 years. Within its boundaries, the laws of physics seemed to break down entirely. Ships that entered never returned. Probes malfunctioned instantly. Even light itself behaved strangely, bending in impossible ways that hurt the eyes of those who stared too long. Commander Zeftar of the Corvani Science Fleet had spent 30 years studying the zone's perimeter. His crystalline carapace gleamed under the bridge lights as he reviewed the same sensor readings that had baffled generations of researchers. The zone appeared to be expanding, though so slowly that most considered it irrelevant. What troubled Zeftar was the pattern of the expansion. It wasn't random. "Commander," his communications officer's voice crackled with static. "We're receiving something unusual from Grid Station 7. Define unusual, Officer Zelen." The insectoid officer's mandibles clicked nervously. "Sir, they claim to have detected a vessel inside the dead zone, not on the perimeter, inside." Zeftar's 4 arms froze mid-gesture. In 30 years of monitoring, nothing had ever been detected within the zone's interior. The twisted space-time made sensor readings impossible beyond the first few kilometers. "Verify the reading." "Already done, sir. Station 7, Station 12, and the Threnody research platform all confirm. There's definitely something in there." The massive view screen flickered to life, displaying the zone's familiar crimson boundary. Deep within the swirling chaos of distorted space, a single bright dot pulsed steadily. Zeftar's compound eyes focused on the impossible sight. According to their sensors, whatever was in there was moving under its own power, following what appeared to be a deliberate course. "Get me Admiral Cathara," Zeftar ordered. This discovery would send shockwaves through the Galactic Council. Within 6 hours, the zone's perimeter was crowded with ships from every major civilization. The Threnody brought their reality-mapping philosophers, convinced this was some kind of dimensional anomaly. The Mechanical Collective deployed their quantum processors, certain that advanced mathematics would explain the phenomenon. The Vashti Empire sent their best military analysts, suspecting a new weapon or technology. High Counselor Vryax of the Threnody stood on his flagship's observation deck, his translucent form shimmering with contemplative energy. "The readings make no sense," he announced to the assembled fleet commanders via quantum link. "Whatever is in there exists in a state of quantum flux that should make survival impossible." Admiral Cathara's voice boomed across the communication channel. "Our deep scans suggest it's a vessel of unknown configuration. The mass readings indicate it's roughly frigate-sized." "Impossible," declared Prime Calculator Zorion of the Mechanical Collective. "Our probability matrices indicate a 0.001% chance of survival beyond the first boundary layer. Nothing organic could maintain cohesion in that environment." As debates raged across the fleet, Lieutenant Jin Shi, a young Corvani sensor specialist, made a discovery that would change everything. While running a spectral analysis of the mysterious vessel, she detected something that made her blood freeze. "Commander Zeftar," she whispered into her communicator, "I think I know what kind of ship that is." "Report, Lieutenant." "Sir, the energy signature matches something in our historical databases. It's human." The communication channel fell silent. Humans were one of the galaxy's youngest spacefaring species, barely having achieved faster-than-light travel 3 centuries ago. They were known for their curiosity and tendency to explore dangerous regions, but they possessed no technology advanced enough to survive the dead zone. "Confirm that reading," Zeftar ordered, though part of him already knew his junior officer was correct. Humans had a reputation for appearing in places they shouldn't be able to survive. As if summoned by their discussion, the human vessel's communication array suddenly activated. A clear, unmodulated signal cut through the quantum interference that plagued the zone. "Hello out there," came a cheerful voice speaking in standard Galactic. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the exploration vessel Wanderer's Dream. I'm reading a lot of ships on my sensors. Is there some kind of party going on? The assembled fleet commanders stared at their communication panels in stunned silence. Not only was there a human ship inside the dead zone, but its captain was making casual conversation as if nothing unusual was happening. Admiral Kethara was the first to recover. "Captain Chen, this is Admiral Kethara of the Corvani Science Fleet. Are you aware of your current location?" "Well, according to my navigation computer, I'm somewhere in the Nexari region, though I have to say the local spacetime is pretty twisted. My coffee keeps floating in interesting patterns." High Counselor Vraex materialized on his bridge, his philosophical training struggling to process what he was hearing. "Captain, you are inside the Nexari Dead Zone, a region where the fundamental forces of reality break down. How are you alive?" There was a pause. "Dead Zone? That's not on any of my charts, though that would explain why my engines are running so smoothly. The quantum flux here is actually stabilizing some of the minor fluctuations in my drive system." Prime Calculator Zorion's processing cores nearly overloaded. "Stabilizing? Captain, the quantum flux should be tearing your ship apart at the molecular level." "Huh." Sarah's voice carried a note of interest rather than concern. "Maybe that's why my morning toast came out perfectly today. Usually the ship's artificial gravity makes it uneven." Across the fleet, scientists and philosophers struggled to comprehend what they were hearing. The humans spoke of the zone's deadly effects as minor conveniences. Where others saw cosmic horror, she saw improved breakfast preparation. "Captain Chen," Zeftar interjected, "how long have you been in the zone?" "Let me check my log," Sarah replied. The sound of rustling papers could be heard over the comm. "Looks like about 14 hours. I was following what looked like an interesting gravitational anomaly when I got pulled in here. Been meaning to leave, but the sensor readings are fascinating." 14 hours. Longer than any vessel had ever survived in the zone. The Threnody had lost an entire research fleet in less than 3 minutes when they attempted to probe the zone's edge 50 years ago. "We need to get you out of there immediately," Admiral Kethara declared. "The zone is extremely dangerous." "I appreciate the concern," Sarah replied, "but I'm actually collecting some amazing data on quantum field interactions. My ship's sensors are picking up patterns that could revolutionize our understanding of space-time physics." Dr. Nethys, the fleet's chief xenobiologist, activated her communication array. "Captain, perhaps you don't understand the severity of the situation. The Nexari Dead Zone has destroyed thousands of ships over the past 2 millennia." "Really?" Sarah's voice carried genuine curiosity. "What were they doing wrong?" The question hit the assembled scientists like a physical blow. What were they doing wrong? The implication that there was a correct way to navigate the zone had never occurred to anyone. "Captain," High Counselor Vraex asked slowly, "what is your ship's approach to quantum field navigation?" "Oh, we don't really navigate them," Sarah explained cheerfully. "We just kind of go with the flow. My ship's AI has this philosophy that fighting quantum uncertainty is like trying to argue with weather. Better to adjust your course and see where the universe wants to take you." Prime Calculator Zorion's circuits sparked as they processed this information. "You're using adaptive navigation protocols?" Adaptive might be a strong word. We call it creative piloting. When the space around you starts doing weird things, the trick is to do weird things back. My ship's been modified to embrace quantum uncertainty rather than resist it. The concept was so alien to established spacefaring doctrine that several species representatives had to excuse themselves to prevent cognitive overload. Every civilization approached space travel through precision, control, and overwhelming technological superiority. The idea of surrendering to quantum chaos was like suggesting they navigate by closing their eyes and hoping for the best. Yet here was a human ship, not just surviving in conditions that had claimed countless vessels, but thriving. The captain spoke of the zone's effects as if they were beneficial, describing quantum flux as if it were a favorable wind. "Captain Chen," Zeftar asked, Would you be willing to allow some of our scientists to study your ship's systems? Sure, but I should warn you, we're not exactly running cutting-edge technology here. The Wanderer's Dream is a converted cargo hauler that I bought second-hand from a Martian scrap dealer. As the hours passed and more data came in, a disturbing picture emerged. The human ship wasn't protected by advanced shields or exotic technology. Its quantum signature suggested it was actually absorbing and redirecting the zone's chaotic energies, using the very forces that destroyed other vessels to improve its own performance. The assembled fleet watched in amazement as Captain Chen not only survived in the dead zone, but began using it as a natural laboratory. Her casual reports described phenomena that challenged fundamental assumptions about physics, space-time, and the nature of reality itself. By the end of the first day, representatives from every major civilization in the galaxy were either en route or monitoring the situation remotely. The discovery of a human ship casually existing in one of the universe's most dangerous regions raised questions that went far beyond simple technological curiosity. The truth behind human resilience. The second day brought Dr. Elena Vasquez, the Terran Federation's leading expert on exotic physics, aboard a fast courier ship. Her arrival coincided with Captain Chen's daily status report, which had become a source of both fascination and frustration for the assembled alien scientists. "Good morning, everyone," Sarah's voice carried its usual cheerful tone. "The quantum storm that rolled through about an hour ago was incredible. My sensors recorded at least 17 distinct space-time folds, and the interaction patterns suggest there might be an underlying mathematical structure to the whole zone." Dr. Vasquez activated her communication array. "Captain Chen, this is Dr. Vasquez from the Terran Federation. I'd like to bring a research team aboard your vessel to study these phenomena directly." "Dr. Vasquez, I've read your papers on quantum field dynamics. I'd be honored to have you aboard, though I should mention the coffee situation hasn't improved." Within 6 hours, the first alien research team in history was preparing to enter the Nexari Dead Zone. The joint scientific mission included representatives from 5 species, each protected by the most advanced survival technology their civilizations could provide. The transfer shuttle, equipped with Trinoti reality anchors, Corvani quantum shields, and mechanical collective probability processors, followed a carefully calculated flight path toward the Wanderer's Dream. Every meter of progress was monitored by dozens of sensors, ready to abort the mission at the first sign of danger. "Entering the zone's outer boundary," reported the shuttle pilot, a veteran Corvani named Kexlar. "Quantum readings are actually stabilizing?" Dr. Vasquez studied her instruments in amazement. Instead of the chaotic readings they had expected, the quantum fields around Captain Chen's ship were displaying an almost rhythmic pattern. It was as if the human vessel had somehow taught the surrounding space to behave more predictably. "Wanderer's Dream, we're approaching your position," Kexlar announced. "Welcome to the neighborhood," Sarah replied. "Fair warning, the artificial gravity gets a bit creative when you dock. Yesterday my lunch tried to serve itself." The docking process defied every prediction made by the fleet's best engineers. Instead of the violent space-time distortions that should have torn the shuttle apart, the approach was surprisingly smooth. The quantum field seemed to actively assist the docking maneuvers, as if the zone itself wanted the visitors to succeed. Dr. Vasquez was the first to step aboard the Wanderer's Dream, followed by the other scientists. What they found challenged every assumption about advanced technology and survival in hostile environments. The ship's interior was comfortable, but clearly built for function over form. Exposed pipes ran along the corridors, and several panels were held in place with what appeared to be standard adhesive tape. This was not the sophisticated vessel they had expected to find surviving in one of the galaxy's most dangerous regions. Captain Sarah Chen met them in the main corridors. A tall woman with short brown hair and eyes that sparkled with genuine curiosity. She wore a practical jumpsuit that had seen better days and carried herself with the easy confidence of someone completely comfortable in her environment. "Welcome aboard," she said, shaking hands with Dr. Vasquez. I hope you don't mind the accommodations. The Wanderer wasn't exactly designed for receiving dignitaries. High Counselor Vraex, who had insisted on joining the research team despite the risks, studied the ship's simple construction with amazement. Captain, how does this vessel survive conditions that destroy our most advanced battleships? Sarah scratched her head thoughtfully. Well, I think it's because we don't really try to fight the quantum fields. Most ships I've seen use their technology to create a stable bubble of normal space-time around themselves, but that's like trying to stand still in a river. The current just gets stronger. She led them to the ship's modest bridge, where several displays showed real-time readings of the zone's quantum activity. The patterns were mesmerizing, flowing like liquid mathematics across the screens. The trick, Sarah continued, is to let your ship become part of the environment instead of fighting it. My ship's AI doesn't try to maintain fixed parameters. It adapts to whatever the local spacetime is doing and finds ways to work with it. Prime Calculator Zorion, whose mechanical form had required extensive shielding to survive the transfer, studied the ship's computer systems. This is impossible. Your AI is operating on principles that contradict basic logic matrices. Sarah laughed. That's what makes it interesting. Traditional AI tries to find the one correct solution to every problem. My ship's AI assumes there might be hundreds of correct solutions and picks whichever one feels most appropriate at the moment. Dr. Nethi, the xenobiologist, was fascinated by the human approach. But how do you make critical decisions without logical certainty? As the research team spent more time aboard the Wanderer's Dream, they began to understand that the ship's survival wasn't due to superior technology, but to a fundamentally different approach to problem solving. Where other species sought to dominate their environment through technological superiority, humans had learned to adapt and work with the forces around them. The breakthrough came when Dr. Vasquez analyzed the ship's quantum signature alongside the zone's energy patterns. What she discovered would revolutionize the galaxy's understanding of both human nature and advanced physics. The quantum fields aren't just accepting the ship, she announced to the assembled team. They're actively cooperating with it. The human approach to uncertainty creates a resonance pattern that harmonizes with chaotic quantum systems. High Counselor Vraex's philosophical training finally provided a framework for understanding. The humans don't try to impose order on chaos. They find the order that already exists within it. Captain Chen nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. Every system has its own natural rhythms. The trick is learning to dance with them instead of trying to make them dance to your tune. The implications were staggering. For millennia, galactic civilization had approached challenges through overwhelming force and technological dominance. The human method suggested that some problems could only be solved through cooperation and adaptation. Over the following days, other human ships began arriving at the zone's perimeter. Each vessel that entered not only survived, but seemed to make the environment more stable for everyone else. The zone that had been a symbol of cosmic danger for 2,000 years was gradually becoming humanity's greatest laboratory. The research data flowing from the Nexari Dead Zone began revolutionizing fields ranging from quantum physics to philosophy. Universities across the galaxy established new departments to study human adaptive methodologies. The Mechanical Collective began redesigning their logic matrices to incorporate uncertainty as a feature rather than a flaw. Captain Chen found herself at the center of a diplomatic revolution as species after species requested cultural exchange programs. The simple cargo hauler captain became an inadvertent ambassador for a new approach to galactic civilization. I never thought fixing my nav computer would lead to all this, she confided to Dr. Vasquez during one of their research sessions. But I guess that's the point. When you stop trying to control every outcome, amazing things can happen. The Nexari Dead Zone, once a symbol of the universe's hostility, became known as humanity's garden, a place where cooperation with cosmic forces created possibilities that domination never could. The human approach to uncertainty didn't just save one ship, it opened entirely new ways of thinking about humanity's place in the galaxy. As more species learned to embrace adaptive thinking, the galaxy itself began to change. Trade routes that had been considered impossible became commonplace. Scientific breakthroughs accelerated as researchers learned to work with uncertainty rather than against it. The cooperative spirit that allowed humans to survive in impossible conditions began spreading throughout galactic civilization. The Wanderer's dream continued its research in the zone, now accompanied by a growing fleet of vessels from dozens of species. Captain Sarah Chen's casual observation that space is more interesting when you don't know what's going to happen next became the motto for a new age of galactic exploration. Humanity had done more than survive in the Forbidden Zone. They had transformed it into a symbol of what was possible when curiosity conquered fear, when adaptation triumphed over domination, and when the universe's chaos was embraced as an opportunity for wonder rather than a problem to be solved.